call to order the December 16th, 2025 monthly board meeting of the Wayne County Board of Education. At this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Harris to please lead us in the prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Lord, we come to you and we thank you for the time of year it is, Lord, and we recognize the fact that what you've done for us and the fact that you sent your son for us, Lord, to provide salvation for us. And I thank you for it, Lord. And then you gave us the ability to understand what that means and that we need it. So I pray, Lord, that's what we will do. Thank you for it. Be with us tonight, that we'll conduct the business of our school system just the way you would have us do it, that we'll be respectful. And Lord, we'll make decisions as wise for our system that we need to make. We thank you for all you've done for us. Forgive us where we failed. By name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, Ms. Daniel will read the mission, vision, and belief statement.
Our mission: empowering all to reach their highest potential through growth and service. Our vision statement: the Wayne County School System will build a sense of community among all stakeholders as we work towards continuous improvement to meet the academic, social, emotional, and behavioral needs of all students. The Wayne County School System is dedicated to providing differentiated and rich educational pathways and establishing equitable learning environments that promote academic achievement, leadership development, and the growth of all students. Our belief statement: every person is worthy of respect. Every person has the right to learn and work in a safe, nurturing environment. Every child learns when actively involved in educational experiences that reflect the uniqueness of each student's abilities. Every child will be encouraged and supported to become a lifelong learner in preparing for a rapidly changing world. Everyone learns best when they are engaged participants in their learning. Literacy is the foundation of education, and family, school, and community are responsible for the growth, development, and success of their students.
Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda as presented?
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the vote. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Do I have a motion to approve the November 11th, 2025 monthly board meeting minutes as presented?
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the vote. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Williams, recognitions.
We have some recognitions tonight. First, we're going to have Mr. Jason Brown, principal of Scriven Elementary, come. He's going to present his Good as Gold recipients.
All right, how's everybody doing tonight?
Good,
Good,
brother.
thank you.
Good. All right, I'm very excited to be here. Is this on? Can y'all hear me?
I can hear you, but you might want to check with the people in the back.
So can y'all hear me?
Yep.
We
Yeah,
can.
get close. All right. So we have a lot to talk about tonight. I'm going to keep it relatively short. But the most important thing is some of these, the staff and students and teachers are going to be recognized tonight, and I want to start it off by recognizing Hunter Teppenpaul. Hunter, come on up. As he makes his way up here, I'm going to state a few things about Hunter. Hunter consistently demonstrates the qualities of a good as gold student. As a proud member of student council, Hunter is a dedicated and hardworking learner who always puts forth his best effort. He listens attentively, actively participates in class discussion, and approaches each day with a genuine eagerness to learn. His positive attitude helps create a supportive and encouraging learning environment for everyone around him. Hunter's excellent attendance further reflects his commitment to school and his personal growth. He truly embodies what it means to be good as gold. A couple of his teachers shared, "We are proud to recognize you as a good as gold student. You show great character, kindness, and a positive attitude. You are a wonderful role model for your classmates, and your respectful behavior helps create a friendly and welcoming environment in our classroom." So good as gold, Hunter Teppenpaul. And Dr. Burgess wants to present this $25 gift card to Walmart. right, for our certified recognition, Ms. Lori Maxey. I'd like to recognize Ms. Lori Maxey, one of our outstanding first grade teachers, as our Good as Gold recipient. Ms. Lori has fully embraced the new strategies introduced this year and has not only implemented them in the classroom, but has done so with excellence. She creates a positive and engaging learning environment where students feel supported, challenged, and encouraged to give their best. Lori consistently, always goes above and beyond, whether it's planning meaningful lessons, reinforcing high expectations, or building strong relationships with her students. Her dedication, enthusiasm, and commitment to growth shine through in everything she does. I'm proud to celebrate Ms. Maxey and the impact she makes each day at Scriven Elementary. Some of the notes from her colleagues include, Lori is an exceptional and outstanding teacher. Each morning she greets students by name with her contagious smile, not just her students, but all students in the hallway. Lori's classroom is highly organized and superbly efficient. That's a big one. And her students feel safe, comfortable, and loved. Lori truly cares about each student, and this is demonstrated in her radiant personality. And lastly, a colleague wrote, we are proud to have Miss Maxey on the pirate ship. So thank you, Miss Maxey. With another $25 gift card. Thank you, Ms. Lori. All right, our last Good as Gold recipient is Mr. Dan O'Brien. Where's Mr. Dan?
Here he is.
Otherwise known throughout the school as Uncle Dan. We'd like to recognize Mr. Dan O'Brien as our Good as Gold recipient. Mr. Dan is a dedicated employee whose attendance record, ability to make timely repairs, and most importantly, his positive attitude are gold worthy, making him an invaluable part of our team. From the moment Mr. Dan clocks in until the final pass of the dust mop, he keeps a smile on his face and a can-do attitude. Like many who serve in our schools, Dan is often pulled from one task to another throughout the day to address a variety of needs. His response every time is always a proud and dependable 10-4. A few words from our staff include, Mr. Dan is an exceptional colleague with an invaluable member of our school community. His dedication is evident in everything he does. He approaches each day with purpose, pride, and a genuine commitment to making our school a better place. He is a remarkably hard worker who consistently goes above and beyond his daily responsibilities, never hesitating to step in, lend a hand, or support others when needed. And lastly, colleague wrote, I deeply appreciate all that he does for our students, staff, and school as a whole. His work ethic, heart, and dedication do not go unnoticed. We are truly fortunate to have him on our team. So thank you, Mr. Dan. Thank you, Dan. All right, you got a little piece. So I just roll into
We're
the.
ready for your principal report.
All right. I've already said good afternoon and thank you, so I'm going to skip that part. But I am thankful that I am here to represent Scriven Elementary tonight. I'm excited to share the outstanding accomplishments our students and staff have achieved and the goals we are working towards for the remainder of the year. To begin with, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge our achievements, specifically our CCRPI scores. Last year, we were, I would say, extremely disappointed. We were nowhere where we needed to be, but with the targeted instruction and meaningful planning, we were able to show outstanding growth. Our teachers have definitely been dedicated and open-minded in learning and delivering high-impact strategies to support student achievement. So within our CCRPI scores, we were able to show amazing growth in closing the gap, readiness, content mastery, and progress. Later tonight, Dr. Edenfield will go into more detail explaining the scores, so I'm not going to do it twice. Our goals have not wavered. We continue to effectively implement and monitor instruction to increase student achievement in both literacy and mathematics. Additionally, we provide a recognition system that highlights student and staff efforts with a consistent goal of decreasing the absences in school. Lastly, we are committed to providing professional learning specific for differentiated strategies. Our academic goal is to increase the percentage of all students in both ELA and math. We are confident in our ability to continue to show growth while achieving this goal through strong tier 1 instruction, flexible grouping, and the use of formative data and rigorous ELT. Our teaching strategies are designed to target every student's deficits. At Scriven Elementary, we believe that every day counts. This theme reflects our commitment to ensuring that both students and staff recognize the importance of attendance, attitude, and effort in achieving success. Our attendance average for the year ranges from 95 to 96% of the attendance rate, and the commitments by both staff and students are recognized and displayed within the building, out front, on the sign, and also within the building. We also honor our students through announcements, social media, and during local high school events where they receive free public recognition for their achievements. Inclusive with our academic goals, we are focused on professional learning communities targeting on differentiated strategies for both Tier 1 and our ELT. Teachers are provided weekly collabs to discuss high-impact strategies. Teachers are also given the opportunity to observe peers both on-site and within our district for additional learning opportunities. So in closing, I want to commend the phenomenal job that the staff and students at Scriven Elementary are doing each day. In addition, I would like to say a big thank you to our families supporting our teachers and students. Together, our commitment to attendance, a positive attitude, and sustained effort are vital to our ongoing success, and together we truly make every day count at Scriven Elementary. Any questions?
Congratulations.
In a nutshell, our teachers and our staff are working hard every day.
Yep.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Mr. Brown.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Our next recognition is the Wayne County High School CTAE Construction Awards, and Dr. Burgess is here to recognize those individuals.
All right, AGC stands for Associated General Contractors of Georgia, and it is a skills challenge series that has over 2,200 students. Those are competitors and observers attending from 104 schools. The annual series is hosted in Augusta, Columbus, Gainesville, Marietta, Moultrie, Perry, Rome, and Statesboro. The core competitions are carpentry, electrical, masonry, plumbing, and welding. AGC collaborates with Skills USA Georgia to also offer students the chance to compete in cabinet making, teamworks, and welding fabrication. Winners from these 8 competitions who hold membership in Skills USA advance to compete at Skills USA, Georgia's State Leadership and Skills Conference in February 2026. At several of the regional skills challenges, students are also offered the opportunity to compete in blueprint reading, heavy equipment operations, HVAC, metal studs, drywall, roofing, and sheet metal. We had several students in Mr. Jamie Ellis's construction classes at Wayne County High School who competed in the 5th annual AGC Skill Challenge on November 12th in Statesboro. These were competitors in the areas of welding, carpentry, blueprint reading, roofing, and electrical, and there were 21 schools represented and over 200 competitors in the various skilled trade areas. And we had 2 roofers competing on behalf of Wayne County High School who placed, and we'd like to recognize them this evening. So when I call your name, if you would come forward and then stay up here for a group photo. First, we have Dylan Presley. He is a junior. Dylan placed first in roofing.
Good job.
And also we have Waylon Kent. Waylon finished second place in roofing. Overall, there were 16 competitors. We took the top 2. How about that? I'll talk to y'all later about some work on my house. All right, next we have the FFA Floriculture. I've been in education 28 years. I did not know floriculture existed, so this is a great thing. It is a career development event that prepares students for the expectations of the agricultural floral industry. Through various events or competitions, students are required to identify plants, judge flower arrangements, and solve problems. It's a 4-person team event, and all 4 team members' scores contribute to the final score. Some sections, such as exams, plant identification, or interviews, may be individual. The event tests individual members' employment readiness, plant identification and maintenance, and sales practices. FFA Floriculture is not just about floral design. It offers a wide range of career opportunities in the floral industry. It is a natural resource for cultivating energetic new talent for the floral industry, and is an active institution committed to guiding students to personal achievement in leadership, personal growth, and career success through agriculture education. We would like to recognize the following Wayne County High School FFA students who traveled to Waycross on November 13th to participate in the Area 5 Floriculture Career Development event. As a team, these 4 young ladies placed 2nd overall, and I invite you to come forward. I'll present you with a certificate, and please stay up for a group photo. First, we have Addison Purvis. Ivory Anderson. Madeline Johns. And Emerson Smith. Thank you.
Good job, ladies.
There is no public participation, so we will move on to our items of business.
Our first item of business is capital outlay projects. We do have a resolution that we need the board to approve tonight regarding the middle school roofs. When the original application was submitted to the state for state funds for those 2 projects, it was presented that we would construct a standing seam metal roof, and as you know, we changed that to the membrane. So in order for us to receive our state funds, we have to do this resolution just saying that we're using a different type of substance on the roof. So Ms. Mosley and myself will sign this resolution. I can let you all look at it. We can look at it in executive session when we go back and sign it then, but we do need a motion to approve this resolution.
Do I have a motion to approve the resolution?
Motion.
We put, when you said the membrane, I know we put that white membrane on there, but then we put the metal on top of the membrane.
The seams went on top of the
Seam.
membrane.
Okay.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the vote.
Mrs. Mosley?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Other capital outlay updates. The middle school roofs are complete with the exception of a couple of punch list items. The inspection is supposed to take place in January. The Arthur Williams Middle School HVAC project is complete. It's fully functional. We have all the temporary air being removed. Scriven Elementary, the final phase of that will be done during the Christmas break, and as you know, those were both insurance claims due to lightning issues. We did receive late last night the breakdown of the 3 projects from Pope Construction, so I have that information to share with you tonight. As you know, we did make some modifications to 2 of those buildings, and Mr. Bill Vickery with Pope Construction guaranteed us that we would stay within that guaranteed maximum price that was approved by the board, and we were able to do that. The breakdown is ROTC will be $2.3 million. The ag facility will be $5.9 million, and the athletic facility will be 5.2 million for the total of 13.4 guaranteed maximum price for those three projects. We do have contingency built into those, and we will also continue to discuss some value engineering options on those three. That is the guaranteed maximum price
That was 13.4, you said?
total, yes, sir.
And there's a possibility coming in under that, is
Yes,
that
sir.
correct?
Yes, sir.
This is all paid by East Boston.
Yes, sir. Any more questions on that? Okay, our next item on the agenda is strategic plan. We have Dr. Edenfield bringing us some information, and I'm gonna ask her to stay at the podium to share CCRPI information.
And I know when we're talking about priority 1.1 with the strategic plan, it's around teaching and learning. And so back in October, we discussed the increase in GMAS scores, and we talked about the steps that were planned. And then in November, we talked about our second goal was improving literacy skills. Our third goal is around MTSS and providing tiered supports for our students. The goal itself was to increase the number of Tier 1 students in grades K-8 as nationally recommended, which would mean decreasing the number of Tier 2 and Tier 3, which basically yes, ma'am.
I understand this Greek that you're speaking, but would you break it down for?
Oh, multi-tier systems of support, thank you, which is, you know, the fancy way of saying figuring out how to meet the needs of all our kids, not just a handful or not just the ones that we know how to teach, figuring out how to meet the needs of all of our kids. And so we've gone through a pretty intensive process over the last year trying to figure out how to do a better job of that and how to figure out how to meet those needs and create some ownership. Our action steps were: 1, provide continued professional learning for all schools on the process, and move to a Go MTSS management system, which for those of you that are familiar with IEPs and Go IEP, it's the same process, it's the same program. It feeds into the Go IEP process. But that's fairly intensive in the learning curve and getting all the student data in. So our MTSS folks worked a lot over the summer to get that going and to front load that. The professional learning's primarily been done through PLCs and through one-on-one, really pretty much organic professional learning as teachers need it, because teachers are at different places. Our second goal was refining the roles and responsibilities for the data team meetings, and that was building ownership for the students' learning and sharing responsibilities between our MTSS staff and our teachers, because it's our teachers who are doing the work. And so creating that team approach to MTSS. And again, that's happening. A lot of that's happening inside of our PLCs and our monthly data team meetings that they're holding. And then our final goal there was to conduct semester pulse checks to get feedback from our teachers on the effectiveness and to be able to make mid-course adjustments. That also includes using diagnostic data to check and maintain an eye on how our kids are doing. You know, we just finished last week the semester diagnostics. So most of that work, those conversations, those data team meetings will be happening in January when we've had time to consolidate the data. And as far as a mid-semester pulse check with teachers, that's happening informally monthly in the PLC meetings, but we'll be conducting that pulse check in January because the semester's not quite over yet. And so that's all those things are in progress. We're moving with them. Kind of excited about to listen to our MTSS folks talk about some of the things that are going on in their data team meetings and their conversations with parents is pretty exciting. I'm probably the wrong person to be talking about that stuff. And so I'm going to, unless you have questions about MTSS and that third goal under teaching and learning, I'm going to jump straight on into CCRPI. And Nicole, I'm going to ask you, thank you for pulling up the PowerPoint for us. And y'all, I'm just going to preface this by saying I know this is a boatload of information. I get it. I also get that y'all really don't have the time for us to be here all night to dig into it. So I know I'm giving a skimming view, but listen, if you've got questions, please ask. And if there's something I'm not saying, please ask that as well. We've been digging into this pretty deeply. We had a 3-hour digging session with principals week before last, and I spent a good bit of time with a lot of the APs today digging into this. But the most exciting part of it is they're taking the information back to their schools and they're digging into it with their leadership teams and their teachers during PLCs. And so I would venture to say that is the most important piece of this, how we use that data. Nicole, if you'll move us on, please. This first page is just a reminder of these 5 components along the outside. These are the components of CCRPI, and they are what make it up. Now, GESA still continues to calculate one single score for CCRPI, and that they use that for that Promise Scholarship designation. That is continuing this year, so we'll talk about it just a smidge as we go. Is that me? Okay. I'm going to keep going until y'all tell me to stop. How about that? Or not. Okay. Nicole, if you'll move us forward, please, ma'am. The first component of content of the CCRPI is content mastery. That is the actual achievement scores from each of the tests, ELA, math, science, and social studies. And they really are addressing whether students are achieving at the level necessary for kids to be prepared for the next step, whatever it is. Again, it's ELA, it's math, it's science, it's social studies, and for some of our special ed babies, it's the GAA scores as well. What you're looking at there is a 3-year comparison by school of the school's the school's content mastery scores. You'll see JEB is the first set of columns, followed by JES, M.R. Smith, Odom, Scriven Elementary, Arthur Williams, Martha Puckett, and then the high school. So what you're seeing there is just content mastery, how the schools have been doing since 23, then 24, and then 25. So, am I trading out with you? Okay, I'll let you do it. You want me to? No. Is that better? Okay, let's try that. I can always get behind the column here. I'll be fine. But if you look at the content mastery there, I do want you to pay, you see there are some beginning patterns and trends since we're looking at 3-year data. Some are not quite there. They're kind of fluctuating. And so, our ideal pattern would be what you're seeing with Martha Puckett. We're here, then we're here, then we're here. Because we don't necessarily want to see jumping from here to here. we want to see a continuity of learning, because that indicates that the students are getting it, not just, man, we did something right for this one particular test, but we don't know what or why. So if I were picking out a trend, Martha Puckett's trend data right there is spot on for what I would want to see. But there is the, by schools, I'll tell you in ELA, Wayne County, our Wayne County average was 34.28, and that put us number 8 in the RESA district. For math, our score was 38.79, and that put us number 9. Now, just to recall, there are 19 school systems in our RESA district. Science was 42.23, and we were number 5. And then in social studies, we were at 37.44, and we were 11th. So that's where we fall within our RESA district. Questions about content mastery? Y'all, I will tell you, and I don't want to go into this rabbit hole for sure, because I know, again, you don't want to be here all night. But when we've been trying to dig in and see, okay, those schools that are scoring higher than us, consistently scoring higher than us, what's their data looking like? What is it that's different from us? And I'll tell you, I don't have it on a drawing, you just have to kind of follow my hand here. But the whole district as a whole, we were pretty much on this line right here, pre-COVID. We were right here, all the districts. 2021 years when we all bottomed out. That was our COVID year. The difference between us and those consistently higher achieving districts seems to be from that low point in 2021, those districts scoring better than us popped back up pretty quickly that following year. They did a pretty steep curve, and then they've slowly continued to move upward. Wayne County's data, we were right there with everybody else. We made that drop pretty consistent with everybody else. What happened is we didn't jump back up. We hung there about midway between where we were and where some of those higher districts were. And then we've done this since. We're moving upward, but it's a slower trend than some of those other districts. And so seeing that and understanding that kind of helped me understand, okay, well, we're following the same trajectory. We're just following at a slower pace. So what is it they are doing that we're not and that we can learn from? Yes, sir.
Quick question, do you have a spreadsheet of what every district does? So like, where we're at 42% one category, 34% in another category. Do we have what they are scoring in so we can see the difference in the jump? So if we're scoring 34, then they're scoring 48.
Right.
So there's a 14-point disparity.
Right.
So can we get a printout of what each district in our RESA area is doing to see where we can compare on our trend going upward and going from 9th to 5th to 4th, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera?
I can.
You also find it on the website as well, yeah.
And
Georgia Department of Education website.
there's an even, a website I like even better too,
Okay.
Ms. Daniels, that it's Northwest Georgia's data warehouse. And that honestly is where all this RESA district comparison data I got, because RESA has not put any of that information out yet, or if they have, I'm not aware of it. But the data warehouse with Northwest Georgia RESA, they've recently created an entire spreadsheet that's devoted to doing just that with the graphs and with the information. I mean, it's pretty powerful, but yes, I can certainly get that for you, because I'm stuck in that rabbit hole of, okay, what are you doing that's different, that's, making a difference. All right, moving on to progress. Progress, again, is how much growth students make in, we're just looking at ELA and math, as compared to other academic peers across the state. You know, that's a calculation that Godot does, we don't. It utilizes the student growth percentiles. It also looks at the GAA scores, and it looks at the access scores for English language students. All those are compiled into that progress score. And so again, there you are. You can look at it by school and see what's happening across the schools. I'll tell you, as you're looking at that, for the number of the percentage of students who are making typical or high growth, in ELA, Wayne County had 62.86, and we were number 11. And then in math, we had 58.91, and we were 13. So looking at achievement is one thing, but then looking at are our students making the same growth jumps as other students across the state? That's where you see the bigger dip across everything is, you know, looking for high growth. We may have high achievement, some high growth, but we have a lot of maybe high achievement, but low growth. They're just kind of staying here on this line. And we're trying to move them to that bubble, that quadrant of high achievement and high growth, or even low achievement and high growth, because that shows they're learning, you know, they're moving. Questions on that slide? Again, the same trend with progress that I just talked about with not closing gaps, with content mastery, the same exact trend. And y'all, I did miss this, and this is gonna get recognition in January. Dr. McIntosh just told me that we're waiting on the awards and things to come in. But on content mastery, we did have one school, Odom Elementary, who will be recognized as a Title I distinguished school because of their because of their achievement scores, which is the content mastery scores for ELA and math. So that's also something to be proud of. Closing gaps. This is the piece everybody likes to look at because it has all the flags on it. And you know, you get points for the green flags, you get half points for the yellow flags, and no points for the red flags. Bottom line, closing gaps is about subgroups. Are we moving our subgroups? And to get a green flag or to count a point for our flags page in closing gaps, each subgroup we have, we're looking to see if they made a 3% increase in their achievement scores from the previous year. That's a green flag. A yellow flag is they made growth, but they did not make the growth to give them a green. Red means they either stayed the same or they went backwards. Closing gaps, as y'all see, we talked about this last year, is a little bit of a slingshot effect, because if you have a really good, strong year, it's great, but it's harder to maintain that strong year than it is to lose it. So just quite honestly, closing gaps is not necessarily, the visual is not the most important, but the subgroups are. And so figuring out how to grow all subgroup achievement is our goal with closing gaps. I will tell you though, and this is pretty interesting. We talked for a little bit about this with APs this morning. Our subgroups that showed, excuse me, the smallest amount of growth from last year to this year were our white students and our EDs, our economically disadvantaged, which are all of our students, because we're, you know, with the lunchroom program that we're under, they're all. We showed more growth for our English language students, for our black students, and our students with disabilities than we did for our white students and all students, which of course, if your white students showed lesser growth, then Of course, all students are gonna show a lesser growth too, because that's the majority of our students. But that was a big aha for us, because for us, that means, okay, well, we're beginning to, I don't mean beginning, that's not even accurate. We're doing something right to move our students with disabilities population. We're doing something right to move our black student population in most schools. We're missing some of our white students. And part of that comes from we're struggling with, we're doing flex groups and we're doing interventions and we're doing all these things. But are we looking at our gifted kids, and are we growing our gifted kids? Or are they just hanging on while we do these other things? And so it kind of behooves us to keep a focus on every single subgroup, not just one or two. And also, to be fair, when you look at subgroups with a very small population, our English language learners are one of those small populations. Odom and Scriven, all their subgroups are small populations. If you have 15 kids, and that's what it takes to count, and you have one kid that moves from a content mastery level 3 to a 2, that one kid takes that whole score down, what, 7% or somewhere around there? When you look at school-wise, it doesn't take but about 2 children in Odom or Scriven to move their subgroup data from looking good to, whew, that bottomed out for that subgroup. And so we know subgroups are where we're gonna figure out how to best meet the needs of our kids, but we also have to keep in mind that, okay, well, you had 15 kids there. How many kids does that mean? How many kids are we talking about there? And that gets into the way we used to do it. Ms. Daniels, you did this back with us. We identified kids by name, and okay, what does this kid need? What does that kid need? And Odom and Scriven's doing a lot of that. Our other schools are too. I don't mean to negate what they're doing either. But you see those fluctuations much quicker in Odom and Scriven than you're gonna see them in any of the other schools, just due to populations. Questions about that page? Again, there's a lot of data there, but. And then readiness. On readiness, we're looking at, for elementary middle, we're looking at Lexile scores, we're looking at attendance, and we're looking at it's called Beyond the Core, but students' opportunities to participate in non-academic classes that help prepare them for the future. Technology, fine arts, actually when we talk about elementary, that's primarily what we're talking about, of technology and fine arts. PE does not count toward Beyond the Core, just the technology, any fine arts classes. Now, when you get to the high school, you also have to add in that looking at accelerated enrollment, pathway completion, which is kind of a double-edged sword for them. Dr. McDaniel always gets frustrated with this because to get the Beyond the Core points versus getting the pathway completion points, they sometimes butt heads with each other. And but we're working on that. That's okay. And then the college and career readiness. The one thing that I think we can pretty much guarantee that kids pass one class of a Beyond the Core class in most schools. But their attendance is probably what hurts us the most when it comes to readiness, because we're looking at attendance issues as well. And we all know that we're still working. We've got a lot of things we put in place this year. A lot of time has been spent, not just this year and previous years as well, since COVID. Getting kids back to school is a big deal. And so that plays in pretty heavily with our readiness score. It is improving, but it's not improving at the rate anybody would like it to improve. So they're continuing to work on that. And then graduation, and I know, I apologize for going through this so fast, y'all, but graduation rate, that's, you know, that, we're all responsible for it, but the high school's the only one that has to own it as far as CCRPI goes. And high school, basically, over the last 3 years, has stayed pretty steady. It has not made Dr. McDaniel happy at all. But we were in 23 at 91. We dropped to 89.8. I think it's fair to round that to 90. And then this year we dropped to 89.7. So we dropped 0.1%. So again, if we're rounding that to 90. He is terribly unhappy with that score. And they've made that part of their school improvement work this year, is how they move that graduation rate back up. Then that next page, and I promise y'all I won't do to you what I did to you last year, and explain all those calculations. It's pretty simple, but I'm not gonna make y'all do it, I promise. Only the principals get the joy of working those out, and they all have done this. They have figured out their CCRPI single score calculation. Now, none of that has come out yet. It's all embargoed, but every principal in Wayne County knows how to figure their single score calculation. They did it 2 weeks ago, and it's a compilation of, you know, of the content mastery, progress, closing gaps, readiness, and then graduation at high school, and they, you know, have a certain count. That gives them the single score, and so you'll see right there for 23, 24, and 25 what each school scored when calculated by single score. There's each school. And then just a piece of good news, because I really can't compare single score yet as far as across districts, because we just don't have that information. That's not been made available. But I will tell you, to get on the Promise School list, they take your last 2 years of single score and just average it out, whatever that average is. And all of our principals have done that as well, so they know what their score is as compared to what last year's cut score was. And it appears that last year we had 3 schools on the list last year for the Promise Scholarship because of their single scores. It appears that this year we'll only be having 1 school on that list, and they were pretty close to the cut score, but they didn't, I don't think they quite made it, and I can't even really talk about that because it's embargoed still. I'd hope that it would be public information by the time we got to tonight. It's not. But I can say with certainty that none of those 3 schools that were on the Promise Scholarship list last year will be on the Promise Scholarship list this year. I'm gonna count that as good news. The other last piece of information, I kinda just want y'all to know, when you can move on, yes, please, is January of 27 will be when they put out their new list of CSI, TSI, ATSI schools. And that feels like a long ways off because we're not even in 26 yet. But the reality of that is that this spring's GMAS scores will be what determine that list. And so everybody's kind of trying to figure out that as well. And everybody wants to improve student scores regardless of list. But it doesn't hurt us to be cognizant of the fact that all that gets reevaluated after spring testing too. It does add a little weight to us as far as responsibility-wise, but again, I think our biggest responsibility is to our kids and, you know, helping all of them improve achievement regardless of what list they come on. But if you start hearing conversation like that, that's why. I think that's my sign to hush. But if you have questions, please let me know, and Mr. Wise, I'll get you a broken down. I'll get that information for you because I can get that.
I got a question and a shout out,
Okay.
because I just been sitting here just looking, just browsing through, and I keep seeing this JES, I don't know who this principal is, but,
Yeah, I don't
mean,
know
for
who
the
she is
past 3
either.
years,
She's
she been
really
moving on
hiding
up.
back there.
Dr. McGrady, you got it going on. You are, yeah, I had to look about 3 or 4 times. I said, yeah, you're doing some good over there.
It's
And I
showing
appreciate
up.
it.
It's showing up.
It's showing
And-
up.
And to speak a smidge to that, you know, this is their 3rd year of some real consistent focus. And I think that's part of where it's showing up. And y'all, I know in the perfect world, we'd be talking about, okay, so what are we doing about these scores and how are we changing this and all that? But really and truly, every one of these principals, when they come give you their school report, every of the 4 that have presented, and the next 4 will do the same thing, every one of them have deferred to their test data. But they spent their time talking to you about what they're doing to move achievement for their kids. And that's where the real bang for the buck is too. It's what's happening in that school. Now at a district level, we're tearing down some silos. We're having conversations about data, good, bad, and ugly, and we're beginning to really be able to talk about, hey, you had amazing growth in 3rd grade ELA. What did you do at your school? I had this, and this is what I've learned. And so really getting us back to that true collaboration for the leaders and for the teachers, I think will kind of ensure that we keep moving forward, because they're working hard together and not working hard in little silos. And
What
that's exciting.
schools, I know we have at, Jessup Elementary, if I'm not mistaken, James E. Bacon, do we have any other schools that have the Boys and Girls Club hubs?
That's a really good question.
But this is their 1st year, am I correct? Yeah.
These
'Cause
are,
do you think that has also helped with your kids and everything?
They do have a tutoring, they do IXL tutoring,
Mm-hmm.
so that's not mandatory, it's just a part of their curriculum, so they go in every day and have tutoring, so it absolutely doesn't hurt.
Right, it helps a little bit along with what you've implemented. I'm not downgrading I've seen you. So I'm not downgrading that, but I'm just saying that little extra seems to help out a little bit as well. Okay.
it does. And, and Mr. Brown talked today about how, what they're doing with flex groups and differentiation and their teachers planning, and working. And listen, that's also a hard place, because in upper grades, I've got one teacher teaching ELA to this, or one teacher teaching math to this grade level. And so if we don't work on, continue working with some district collaboration, we really put them at a true disservice.
Right.
But they have bonded around differentiation and flex groups, and I don't know that there's any part of the day that you go out there and not see some of that happening at their school. Every one of these 8 schools has a piece or pieces to really celebrate, and that's why I'm really pushing them hard when they do their school reports for y'all to, refer to the data, but talk about what you're doing to move kids.
Okay, I got another question.
Mhm.
You're talking about Oldham Scriven and having one teacher in each grade level for that subject, and like you said, how it's a disadvantage because they don't really have anyone to collaborate with,
Right.
on that grade level. Do you think that maybe in the future, there's a possibility that maybe we could build in some half days or quarter
Doing that
days or
this year.
whatever for collaboration for those teachers? Do you think that might be a possibility?
We are doing that this year. And, we did that several years ago. You were in the system, Ms. Mosley, you were in the system then when we were doing those collaboratives. And then they moved away for whatever reason, I don't know. But we have started that back this year. And that collaboration is specifically around planning for the next teaching units. And, and getting that support for, you know, because it does take them out of their classrooms or out of a learning time to come to these collaboratives, but it saves them countless hours in planning because they are, when they come, they're planning together for the next units.
And I understand the missed time, but I can tell you from experience that if you're going in and these teachers are struggling because, you know, they may have some children that may learn a little bit differently. But if you go and collaborate with someone and they have those same type of students and may
Yes,
have some
ma'am.
ideas they can share with you and
Absolutely.
demonstrate and, you know, help you with it, it makes all the difference in the world. And those children are the ones that are gonna benefit
Are the
from that
ones that are going to
collaboration.
benefit. And listen, teacher surveys keep telling us, please keep these going. We need these. This helps me teach better. This helps me know better how to do it. And it takes workload off my shoulders. And so we've gotten amazing feedback from teachers this year around the collaboratives. And so we're already, as we go into January, matter of fact, we discussed it a smidge at our directors meeting this week. How do we ensure this happens next year? And, you know, keep that going. So yes, ma'am, thank you for that.
Any other
Thank y'all.
questions? Thank you, Dr. Enfield. Our next agenda item is ATSI, Additional Targeted Support and Improvement Information, and Ms. Jana Collins is going to start the presentation, and I think Dr. White will finish the presentation.
Yes. So as Dr. Edenfield just mentioned, we won't know until January of 2027 if we have any additional schools on a federally identified list, but currently we do have one school. So I've talked to you all, and Dr. White and his team has presented information over the past couple of years about the progress, so we're just going to give you guys an update on that. So currently Martha Puckett is identified as an ATSI school, which is Additional Targeted Support and Improvement. And so they were first identified on this list due to their 2023 GMA scores for students with disabilities. So it's based only on that subgroup. So tonight we're going to talk to you about the district plan of support and the work that we've been doing with our state team that comes in and supports us too. We do walkthroughs on a monthly basis. So we have district representatives that are part of that walkthrough team, and then now quarterly the state representatives also come in and join us for those walkthroughs. So Ms. Gray, you can go to the next slide. Yes, ma'am. So we're going to talk about the district plan of support. Also, Dr. White's going to talk to you about some of the things they are doing at the school level, the great work that they're doing, and he's going to share some updated school data with you and talk to you about some of their successes and also how they plan to continue to sustain the work that we've done. So the first, you can keep going to the next one. The first slide we're going to look at, this is just how they were identified. As I mentioned, schools can have multiple identifications, but for Martha Puckett, it's only for our one subgroup of students with disabilities, and it's only for Title I schools that these findings are. But the threshold for students with disabilities in 2023 was 16.7, and our students were at 15.27. So we were very close, but we were, at that time, we did not meet that threshold. You can go to the next slide, Ms. Gray. So this just shows our data and where we were in 2023. And Dr. White's going to talk to you about some of the great work that his team's been doing and that we've been able to do together to hopefully improve these scores and have better outcomes for our students. So I'm going to get out of the way and let him talk about the good stuff. Yes, sir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Guys, as you see the data that's presented right now is the content and the actual subgroup that got us identified as ATSI school. As you can see, and if we look at the beginning level learners, we are consistently high in that area. But we briefly improved in 2024. Also, if you look at the distinguished learner, we grew in 2024, but we actually declined in 2025. Also, at proficient learner, we peaked in 24, declined in 2025. And with distinguished learner, it's kind of minimum across the board the last 3 years. Go to the next slide, Ms. And being identified as an ATSI school, we were also equipped with coming up with a district plan of support that, well, we had to collaborate with the district to come up with a plan of support for us. Now, this district plan of support was geared towards equipping our teachers to be more equipped to improve our student improvement. Some of the things that we actually did, first training we had was a SDI training, was a special design instruction training that was provided to us. Also, the GLRS came in and did a training on ELA and math. It did it on a monthly basis. The district SPED had a PLC after school every month that first year, which was 2024 when district plan of support went into play, 24-25 school year. Also, the student individual learning plan. This was actually put together by the SPED teacher where they went into the IEP, looked at the student exceptionality, and looked at some of the strategies that would be helpful for the teachers when they're making their lesson plan. So they had like a cheat sheet to see, okay, this kid need this strategy to help him gain access to the curriculum. So we put that cheat sheet together for the regular ed teachers, and SPED teachers do that on a regular basis. Actually, they still doing it. Matter of fact, they had a PLC yesterday where they also went in and looked in the plans again to see whether or not they can improve those strategies for those kids in those classrooms. Also, we have a read and write was assistant technology that was provided by the district. Also, upcoming, next month we got an upcoming training for co-teaching. So we have those co-teachers that's going to be able to go in there together and help improve those kids and make, once again, also get them access to that curriculum. Also, the state and the district, we do a monthly walkthrough, so we get feedbacks every month from the state and also from the district office and the school. We provide that feedback to the teacher at our faculty meeting. First, we have it at the leadership meeting, then we provide it to our teacher in our faculty meeting. And we all have a monthly consistent improvement, monthly continuous improvement team that we meet once a month as well. Go to the next slide, Miss. Now, that was at the district level. At the school level, we also have put some practices in place as well. Actually, we had one of our SPED teachers to actually go in and do another assistive technology training for our teacher, and we made it a practice that they use assistive technology on a weekly basis, and they must intentionally put it in their lesson plan so we'll know when they're actually providing that assistive technology so we can go in and look. But we also advise them that the students should always have access to it, but we just want them intentionally to put it on the lesson plan so we can come in and watch that take place. Also, we had school-based professional learning, which focused on teacher clarity so they understand what the learning target and success criteria are for the students. And we made it clear to the teachers that this learning target and the success criteria is geared for the kids, so they know what they're about to learn, and what they need to learn, and what it takes to learn in that content area. Also, we have lesson plan expectation that was developed by our IC, Ms. Carter. She have been to some solution tree training where she went to show how PLC works. So she went and brought some of those ideas back to the school, and it's have worked out very well. This year, we also did an overview of the SDI. We did a refresher course this year. So during that summer break, we know the teacher probably lost some of the steps. So when it came back this year, we did a refresher course. We did another read-write, like I said, with our SPED teacher. And our mid-year data analysis that we use to show the teachers so they can go in and look at their students and see if their student made any growth, and if that student didn't make any growth, okay, what we're going to do so we can move that kid from a level 1 to a level 2 or a level 2 to a level 3. So we did that last month. We're going to do it on a monthly basis, and also we do it after our iReady data, which we just did the mid-year data. So we were able to go in and have the teacher pull all their students and look at that data and to see if any student grew or if they did not grow. And based on that data, we determine whether or not a kid need to go into an intervention or they can test out of an intervention to where we can go to a buzz block where it's an enrichment class for them. Also with content-specific professional learning through RESA, we have had SDI training for each content level. All the teachers have went to, science or social study SDI training, or math or ELA SDI training. We had one today that was in Matters, with the math teacher went down to Matters to go through a SDI training today. And that's at the school level. Also, you can flip to the next one. It's a continuation of things that we had in place at Martha Puckett. Even before we got identified, we had some standard-based classroom focus that we put in place, like annotated standards. We wanted to be student-friendly for the students so they know exactly what they're learning. Not only that, we wanted the learning target to be friendly. We wanted, what I mean by annotated standards, we want them to break down the terminology that we think they may know, but they do not know. We'll break those terms down so the kids can understand it, but not only that, we wanted to break those terms down, but we also want to give them a synonym so those kids can understand what those words mean. So when they're reading that and they use those content clues, they'll understand what's going on, and they'll be able to comprehend what they're reading. Word wall is a big thing. We want them kids to see those vocabulary words on a daily basis, so they can just get familiar with those words. We have daily ELA math and intervention. Like I said, that's our intervention we have at the first part of the day is our buzz block class. So like I said, they have a math intervention, a reading intervention, or they will have an enrichment based on their iReady scores. Classroom observation is ongoing. A monthly state district walkthrough, like I said, we're already doing monthly SPED workshop. SPED teachers have a lot on their hands, so they have to do IEPs. They also, like I said, they do the plans for the teacher. They go in and pull those strategies out for the for the teacher, so those teachers, when they make a lesson plan, it's easy to do. So we try to make a work day for the SPED teacher once a month, so they can just go focus on getting their IEPs ready for the IEP meetings, and also just have all their document ready so we be prepared when we have an IEP meeting, but also be prepared when they have the collaboration with their teachers. Now, during our PLC, we have everybody in one room, so we have all content area teachers in one room, along with the SPED teachers, so they can provide those collaboration of those SDIs for those teachers as well. We got here structural diagnostic testing, which was a great idea that Ms. Abad came up with initially when we did the diagnostic, which is the iReady. We were just doing them in the cafeteria all at once. But then Ms. Abad came with the idea, let's just do it as if it was a milestone. So what we did, we just started breaking it up and have the teachers just take them in their classroom, break them up by small groups. And since we did that last year, we have seen our scores increase with that change in the environment for those students, just get them prepared and get them ready for the milestone. You go ahead and flip to the next one. Now, initially, the data I showed initially was the content in the subgroup that got us identified and put us on ATSI score. This right here is the whole group, all subgroups together. As you can see, the 3-year trend that we are increasing in the proficient and above, we have increased in the last 3 years in the ELA. If you flip to the next one, we also have increased in math. It's when all together, it's when we break it down to the SWD is when we start having the inconsistencies. Initially, the first that I showed where it showed we had some increase in 2004, that we saw a decline in 2005, and that was due to inconsistency in practice. From 23 to 24, we had consistency in our practices that we were doing. However, when the state came involved, they implemented some more strategies and some more practices, which kind of derailed our consistency that we had. So we had some inconsistency, and the teacher work overload. I put it that way. It was teacher work overload. But now I think the teacher have the clarity right now, and I think our school's gonna be okay. I say when the state came in, I say that was a necessary evil. We didn't want to do it, but we realized now how effective it was. So we understand how important it was, although we didn't like going through that process. Flip to the next ones. Okay, this is only the 8th grade right here in 8th grade science. As you can see, once again, you see the steady growth and the 3-year trend there. And also, and I think the next one is the social studies, another trend that's always increasing there as well. Now, and how we monitor our progress to see whether or not we are doing well is our iReady data right here is our iReady reading. It's showing an increase from last year, this year compared to last year. So that let us know we're on the right path. Once again, it's all about getting prepared. And Ms. Abag do a great job as setting the stage up for testing, whether it's iReady or GMAS. And her and Ms. Carter, they work hand in hand. It's just like they can run the show by themselves. They got a good camaraderie going together, which is great for everybody. So that's the iReady for reading. If you flip to math, also you see another growth here from this year compared to last year. And I think, although we did a calculation the other day, the content mastery, the last 3 years we grew in the content mastery as well as readiness. We just didn't grow in the progress and closing gap. But I think we're going to be okay this year because of the teacher clarity, of the retraining that we're providing. And I know it's going to help out when we get the co-teaching training that will be provided starting in January, so we can just move out of this group. Some of the sets that we have in here is this data right here. And the students, well, first one is we we reached our goal number 1, which will improve proficiency in the distinguished learner by 3% on the Georgia milestone. The walkthrough data that we've done at the district, the IEWs, we see an increase every month. And when we go to the different schools, and I actually like going to the different schools to see how they're functioning. See some of the things that we can take from their schools to take to our school. So that had helped out with our learning targets. One of our focus was formative assessment. Teacher wasn't actually, I would say the teacher were doing the formative assessment, however, they wasn't using the data to drive their instruction. So we started focusing on that, which was a great idea as well. So those are the things that we see improving. We see the teachers that are, like I said, the teacher clarity, they're more apt to try things now since they have the clarity on what the state looking for and what the district is looking for. We see an increase in our high-level practices, increase like in the formative assessment and the special design instruction. I think the teacher was already doing it. They just didn't understand of what the state was looking for, how the state wanted to be implemented and annotated on their lesson plan. But I think we got that all covered right now. And like I said, we saw the increases in the iReady data. We're going to have some kids coming out of intervention because they score high enough, but we also have some that's going in. And on Thursday, we're going to do a reward celebration for those that improved. If they stayed on grade level, and dropped a little, but they still in grade level, we're still going to let them award. But those that dropped out of grade level, on that day, we're going to have them focus on iReady, whether it's math or whether it's ELA, to just try to improve and get them prepared for the milestone. Our next step is just a continuation of the walkthroughs, the IEW with the district, also the intervention that we have on a daily basis, the classroom observation, the monthly walkthroughs. Also, we just created a template to where we're going to start doing peer observation in January, where the admin will have some teacher that we know needs some observation. That needs some peer tutoring. We're going to allow them to go into a teacher classroom to just do an observation. But the same class that they're going to do the observation in, we're going to have that teacher to follow back up with those teachers, just go in their classroom to see are they implementing some of the strategy that they received from the observation that they actually review when they went to view a teacher classroom. We also had one teacher that we're going to start doing more often to go over to Arthur William to observe one of their teacher in the classroom. I think it was our intervention math, or REP math. We're going to have that teacher go back over there. Also, our one math teacher, our Miss Graham. We're going to have her to go over to Arthur William also to see what they're doing over there. But then we just got to, I think it was yesterday, they was telling me how well Miss Polito is doing over at Arthur William. So we're like, okay, we're going to have Miss Rozier to go over there and start observing her to see what strategy she can do to bring back to Martha Puckett. So we're trying to put some things in place so we can just move forward. Any questions?
Thank you, Dr.
All right.
White.
Y'all have a great evening.
Our next item on the agenda is approval of board policies, and we have 10 policies that we discussed at the November board meeting, and that was the first reading of those. Do you have any specific questions about any of those policies that we discussed?
Do I have a motion to approve the presented policies? Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the vote. Yes, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Financial management is next. We have Dr. Kimberly Harrison presenting the October financial report.
And so you'll see there in the middle, our ending fund balance as of October 31st is $10,414,575.82. And if you recall, in September, we were a little bit over 6.7 million there, so there's an increase there. A couple things I did want to point out that you'll notice, and you probably already have in previewing these, is we're a little bit over or high in the business services, the percentage year to date. That's mainly because of some upfront costs. We have to pay our GSBA risk management upfront as well as our workers' comp. And so you'll see that level out as the year continues on, but that's one of the reasons why that is high. There's also some other percentages that are high with maintenance, water, sewer, rentals, and repairs. And those are high due to some of our insurance claims. Those are soon to be closed out. The documentation has been submitted to the state, but once those are closed out, we'll get the final cost and we'll be able to do a budget amendment to shore that up. But I'll give you a few moments to look at the rest of that report on page 2 and 3. Just breaks down all of those same expenditures that you see on page 1, but by function and object code. Do you have any questions about the general fund report? So we'll move on to the second reports, capital projects and debt services. Again, these are all of our capital projects that we have currently right now, from our revenue to our expenditures. Starting in the first column is our SPLOST. The exact amount for our SPLOST revenue for October was $526,558.54. We're averaging about $530,000 per month in SPLOST revenue. And then you can see our buses, athletic facilities, the expenditures that we have with both middle school roofs, and our playground equipment and bonds. Any questions on the capital projects and debt services report?
That's good.
All right, so we'll move on to our special revenue report. Again, these are all of our federal programs and grants that we have that are on a reimbursable basis. We are drawing those down monthly, making sure that we get every dollar that has that we've incurred, we've gotten reimbursed for. And so I'll give you a few moments to look at that. Again, you'll see some of those are in the negative, but again, they're all on a reimbursable basis. So once we get throughout the end of the year, you'll see those trend to be positive. And then our final report is our school activity. Again, showing you what each school has taken in compared to their expenditures. I did reach out to one of the schools that you see there that's in the negative. They did have a couple of expenditures that were large, and primarily they were restocking some of their supplies for their fundraisers. But again, as we move on throughout the year, you'll see that trend to be positive. Overall, do y'all have any questions about the October financial reports? Okay.
Do I have a motion to approve the presented October 2025 financial report?
So move.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the vote. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
The next document that you have in front of you is the FY '27 budget calendar. In order to be in compliance with state law, each district is required to adopt an annual budget calendar or a fiscal year budget calendar. And you see, this is very similar to what we've approved in past years. We'll begin the process in January, having budget talks and work through personnel needed, school allocations, and our goal is to have the budget adopted by June 30th, which is the requirement unless you adopt a spending resolution. After the budget is adopted, then we should start receiving our tax digest from the tax commissioner, and we'll adopt the millage rate later on after the budget's adopted. So that's the typical cycle.
Do I have a motion to approve the presented FY '27 budget calendar?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the vote. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
The Wayne County BOE will enter into executive session to discuss or deliberate upon the appointment, employment, compensation, hiring, disciplinary action or dismissal or periodic evaluation or rating of a public officer or employee, or to interview applicants for the position of the superintendent as described in OCGA 50-14-3. Other matters considered or discussed may include negotiations, land, real estate, appeals, school safety plans, and legal matters. Do I have a motion to enter into executive session? Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the vote. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
have a motion to enter back into open session?
So move.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the vote. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
The Wayne County Board of Education has decided to uphold the tribunal panel's decision. Do I have a motion to uphold the tribunal panel's decision?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the vote. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Personnel and coach recommendations for December 16th, 2025. Certified recommendation, Kaylee Cravey, Martha Ross Smith Elementary School. Missy Fountain, Wayne County High School, 49%. Certified transfer, Jessica Oliver from Martha Ross Smith Elementary Media Specialist to Martha Puckett Middle School Media Specialist. Classified recommendation, Heather Crenshaw, Wayne County High School School Food Services. Classified resignations, Charlotte Fowler, James E. Bacon Elementary. Curtis Hillman, Maintenance. Courtney Jackson, Martha Ross Smith Elementary. Lori Smith, Martha Puckett Middle School. And Community Coach, Raina Labar, Golf. Do I have a motion to approve the personnel and community coach recommendations list as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the vote. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Harris, do you have anything?
Just like, I know this is our last meeting this year, and like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and hope that you have a great time with your family.
May your days be merry and bright and peace. And I stress that word, peace and love and goodwill to all men.
Mr. Yarborough?
That was inspiration.
I'm glad I could inspire you.
Go Jackets.
Mr. Wise?
Merry Christmas to everybody, safe holidays. Daniels, it's good to see you back, God bless you. I'm glad to
Yep.
see you here.
Great to see you.
Prayers for you and your family, but, thanks to everybody, and be safe out there with these holidays, make them memorable.
Yep, everybody have a Merry Christmas.
Just a reminder that Friday is an early release day, and the second half of the day will be a teacher work day. And I hope everybody has a great break.
There being no further business, I declare this meeting adjourned.